right, we are back at the AAC podcast with Roy Boy and Alex and me, Jaron, which we call the General. I just realized I still have that on there. Um, Guys, it's these days are going by so fast. I feel like we just did this podcast like 3 days ago.
It's
Wait, we
almost
did
we did, yeah.
we did do it 3 days ago.
You,
Man, they go
you,
by
you
quick.
slay me, Jaron. You
I
slay
slay you. Yeah. Well, today's topic's going to be fun: misinformation and censorship. Man, one of our videos got taken down today, actually. And we're a nobody,
Mhm.
so I think that's hilarious. And I don't know if you guys, what do you guys think of that? That they already censored us on one of our videos.
First, we got what is censorship? What is actually censorship?
Well, you answer that.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts?
It's simply, and I put it right here. Censorship is suppression of speech, public communication, and other information. So,
Okay.
very simple, to the point.
Mhm.
So, but
So
with this video that got taken down, why do you think that? Why do you think that happened? I mean, obviously they sent us some information about it, but what are you guys feeling about it?
I think when I went back and watched the clip, I think it was on TikTok, right? So YouTube and Facebook and Instagram did not take it down, but it violated the TikTok guidelines. And we were talking about government and how they are trying to spread fear. So that was the premise behind the video, the clip. So I think it
Hold on.
has.
We talked about how government is or could be, may actually be, spreading fear. We Again, that's our own theory. That's our own.
Yeah. Like I think we said, like clearly like I know I did most of 90% of the talk in the clip, but I said like I really do believe that government is spreading fear, and so bam, we can't post that now again on TikTok. But yeah, that was the topic that we hit for a few minutes. So no, I think that's literally what we just talked about. Like, why would you take that off? Where's free speech in there? And obviously, who owns TikTok? Did someone from the U.S. buy that yet, or is that still owned
No.
by China? Yeah,
It's not a U.S. company.
yeah. So I think that's part of it, is because what we're talking about is literally. This is funny. Have you guys watched the movie Reagan yet?
No,
I
I'm not.
haven't. No.
Okay, I just watched it last night with my boys, and this is literally it goes against communism, right? Like he's trying to fight communists with the Russias and with Russia, and I think that's part of what this has to do with, right? Like you're implying that if you're the government, you're kind of evil or you're not on our side. Well, that's the opposite of what communists believe. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think since we don't fully support whatever agenda they happen to be pushing at the current time, they found that to be a threat. And it's easy to kind of censor the smaller channels because it's not like there's going to be a lot of pushback. Like, we're not going to get lawyers. We're not going to get a bunch of support because no one really knows who we are yet. So it's very easy to censor a small channel like this.
Yeah. What do you think, Roy?
No, I mean they got to cover everything. They're big enough where they have tech that's catching every single little bit. So I'm not surprised. And for them to go after us, I mean, we do plan on being bigger and we will be bigger. So I'm like, good, bring it on, because I want, again, I want dialogue. I want, you know, conversations happening. And again, we also too, I think it's also on us to be responsible to, you know, understand words do matter. Words
Mm-hmm.
actually do have power. And so whatever we say, I think it is with us for within our grasp to also share, you know, data, have conversations, not speculate, but also, show, back our reasons why we're saying certain things. And for if we do that, I think we'll be safe. But for us to say yes, they're doing this, yes, they're doing this, we're not in those rooms. We're not part of those conversations. but we do have a feeling about it.
What do you think about? Did you guys see the law that Newsom passed in California about the deep the deep fake AI things that you can't do for spreading misinformation?
No. What do you say?
Did you guys see that, Roy?
I saw it. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, like,
Did you see the newest one?
no, I didn't see. What's the newest one?
The newest one, and I saw this on Twitter, and it showed where I think yeah, it was Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and George Bush. They were not George Bush, Bill Clinton. They were together. I think they were in some kind of church.
Okay.
I can't. So, but they were just kind of they ad lib or put words in their mouth that made it sound like them. That yeah, Kamala's going down the tank. Yeah, the people are figuring out she's an idiot. And then you see Bill Clinton in the back and goes, check out these girls in here.
Oh my gosh.
And so yeah, but that's not actually them, but it's funny.
So what that is, Alex, is he passed some bill. I don't know if it passed exactly, but I think it passed. I don't know. But he talked about like it's going to be like you're getting in trouble for posting like stuff like that. If you post that, you can get in trouble in California. And I'm pretty sure it passed. Actually, we
Wow.
should look it up right now actually and see if it passed.
You can't post AI videos impersonating someone. Is that what you're saying?
Hold on, let me.
Or is it like a literal video? It was actually them in the video, or was it
Let me
AI?
see if
Yeah, here it
it's
is right
actually-
here. It's
it's actually
ABC.
them in
Here,
the video.
I got it right here.
You
Hold
got
on.
it?
Hold on. Let me. Oh, I went to the wrong thing. Hold on 1 second. Present. Share screen.
What video are we gonna?
I got it.
To meet
California Governor Gavin Newsom and Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff together on stage at Dreamforce 2024, nearly 20 minutes in, and then this moment when the conversation centered on AI regulations and the 30-plus bills on the governor's desk.
I don't want to put you on the spot. I know it's kind of like a stunt, but I do have those 3 bills that I can sign today with you or not. It's just up to you. I happen to bring them. And they're the
If you want to
actual
sign
bills.
some laws,
Does this comport with?
it's your interview. You can really do whatever you want, really.
Well,
There's one is signed,
there's 2,
2 are signed,
and
3 are signed.
this is
Very good.
Benioff seemingly staying neutral.
You know, there's also the chance that Benioff was not briefed and prepared for that kind of moment, right? And that the governor used it to have make a political splash. All of that is possible, of course.
That's UC Berkeley professor Olaf Groth reacting to how it all went down. One of the new laws forces online platforms to remove deepfake videos that target voters. Another requires consent of performers to use their digital likeness. And the third extends protections to performers who are deceased, involving digital recreations of them.
These are pretty easy ones to sign, I would say.
Berkeley's Mark
There are a
Nitzberg
few
says there really isn't much controversy around those AI bills. The SB 1047 AI safety bill is a different story. Nitzberg is in favor of that.
It would be wise.
So do you think he's just butthurt that
Basic.
they,
Hold on,
testing
I'll pause it here. Hold on.
and-
What were you saying, Roy?
So I think that he's just butthurt that he didn't people are just taking advantage of it first.
I think part of it, maybe, yeah, but I think at the end of the day, like, dude, Newsom's straight up communist or worse. I don't even know if you can get worse than communist, but you probably can. Like, I mean, he's about as crazy as you can get on that stuff. So, it's got 30 seconds here.
and basic liability for very powerful systems.
But Groth believes new innovation could be impacted by a bill that would require companies to do their own safety testing.
Its own unintended consequences, such as shutting off massive amounts of open source developers that provide functionality that is critical for resilience in turn. So I think on that one, we're going to have to think through that a little bit more.
Bottom line, while 3 bills were signed into law Monday, there are still many more that could be signed or vetoed in the days and weeks to come.
So,
Okay.
what do you think of that?
First off, before like the legitimacy of whatever's in the bill, I think it's kind of bizarre that he brought 3 bills to an interview in front of an audience and just kind of like waved them around and waiting for people to cheer. Like,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing. Is it's like, you've seen the movie Idiocracy? It reminds me of that. You're like turning into a spectacle of like a crowd sport, and
Dude.
yeah, it's just strange how it reminds me of like the Capitol and the Hunger Games, just like waiting for people to, you know, applaud at the applause sign at the thing that you're doing. It's so weird.
He's like mocking you, like
Yeah.
doing it that way.
Mhm.
Regardless of what's in it, it's like it's a mockery.
It's
When you're sitting there, he's
cheaper
like-
than it otherwise would be. Like, it's just weird. It's turning into entertainment when it shouldn't be.
What do you got, Roy?
No, I was just saying, like, on one hand, it's like, you know, like, I get where he's coming from, because I mean, there again, going back to what we were doing, you know, I mean, not what I was saying earlier. There's a certain level of responsibility, and I think also we're a little too sensitive about that. I think uh, he Gavin is being a little. Come on, man, you're a little too sensitive. People know it's not real. I mean, come on. Just like Joe, come on, guys.
Well, that's like, you know, the Babylon Bee and the Onion. They're basically illegal now in California, right? Like, it's because it's satire. You can't have satire. Like,
So was it mainly AI or all satire?
I don't know if it's all satire. I think the whole point though is like, if you get it to this part, like, it's the conversation is like, what can you control and what should the government control and what shouldn't they control? If somebody makes a funny video,
Mhm.
where like, where does that line cross? Because even in free speech, you can't yell fire if there's no fire, right? Like in a theater, like you get in trouble for that, like because you cause panic. Okay.
Yeah, there's grounds for obscenity. There's exceptions in freedom of speech.
Yeah, so like I see where they want to come from, because like he said in the video, they're trying to say because you're targeting voters. Are they actually running ads for that? I don't know. I guess I would highly doubt they aren't. I think everybody over 18 is obviously a voter, so you can say that so broadly. Are they targeting people because they're trying to deceive them? Maybe some people, like, maybe they're doing it, but I think a lot of it's just funny, right? And so where's the line though? Because you can't yell fire in a theater, so where do you do it online?
So
That
then
comes to
let's
that part.
flip it.
Where's that line?
So then let's flip it. If they were doing this to, you know, the person that that, you know, you want in office, and they're, you know, it's a funny clip. I mean, what would your feelings be if you saw, you know, the running mate that you wanted to see win the presidential office, and that was happening to them?
I'd probably laugh.
You probably laugh.
Videos
I've seen
making
it.
fun of Trump
Yeah,
are equally
like,
hilarious.
I've seen a lot of videos making fun of Trump, and they're so funny. He's an easy guy to make fun of.
That's the thing. Like, it's important to have
Yeah.
parody and humor in like the main cultural dialogue. It's not very healthy if you can't have that anywhere, and you can't make fun of a little bit the people in power, not like to this harsh, unnecessary degree. But if you can't make fun of them, that's a problem.
So I just
There is a
think
line
that
though, so yeah, go for it, Roy. Yeah.
so the line is, I would say, if I were to put a line, I would put a line as if, like, you know, the news station was, or, you know, were these are I mean, if the news stations or a trusted source, and they were showing this on there, I think that's a line that's crossed. Social media platforms, there's social media platforms. Yes, there should be a disclaimer at the bottom saying, hey, this is, you know, not real. I think I think there is a level of importance to that. But
I can
you
see
know,
that part. I mean, that makes sense because there's a lot of gullible people that could
Mhm.
believe it's real. And I'm not saying that to be funny. Like, I think you're right, Roy. I think that disclaimer thing, to me, if he made that, like, you have to, you have to actually, like, hey, you have to say this, even in the first line, like, this is satire or something, would make way more sense than saying you can't do it.
Mhm.
yeah.
Also, I think an important, I don't know if anyone does this right now, but an important idea would be to put like a mandatory label saying this is generated with AI or this is a deep fake. And because that can get really photorealistic and almost exactly on point to a person's speech, is like not to the point where it's not making fun of them, but you can impersonate somebody perfectly.
Well, I know this goes into like stealing your information now, right? Like they're talking about people can basically pretend they are completely you, and they can try to call you with a voice that sounds like your daughter or your son. Like, so it goes into a whole nother level of like, how do you protect that, right? While still being able to create this stuff.
You know, there's scammers out there that do that.
Yeah.
It's scary. Where
Yeah.
it'll make it sound like it's your voice calling your parents to scam them out of money. Like, hey, I'm being, da 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 da. Like, they're holding me hostage here, and I need this. They said that they won't release me until this, this happens, and that's also another thing that's scary out there. Like, where are your kids? That's also something we also got to be aware of. Knowing that, creating, like, certain safe words that trigger, yes, this is real. So I think that's something that we also got to practice. I mean, that reminds me,
I got a safe word for my family. Yeah. But have you guys, this is interesting. I've never actually asked anyone this or said it out loud, but do you guys ever get calls that you just like, hello, and there's like nobody there, and you're like trying to figure it out? And I was like, I got another one. I usually don't pick up unknown numbers, but I'm waiting for someone to call me, so I'm picking them up. And I got 3 calls. No one was there. And I was like, are they trying to record my voice to try to do what we just talked about and like get the tone? You guys ever think of that?
Yes, there's actual scams out there where to get to sensitive information like your bank account information, they can call, let's say, a bank, and they'll ask, is this, and they'll say your name, and you would say yes, and then that would be like the confirmation of your identity, and it would go further. So they call you beforehand with the phone recording, and they just wait for you to talk, and they say, you say hello, you say your name, and they record that and then take it and then play it to get into somewhere else.
I was thinking
they've actually called me and said, hey, can you hear me? And if you hear that, I don't.
I just say hello, and I don't say my name. I say hello and just wait.
Yeah, I say hello, and I'm like, this cannot be a coincidence that this is happening. Okay, you just confirmed that. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. All right. Oh my gosh, these people got better stuff to do.
You may have a secret admirer, someone stalking.
Nah, dude, I don't. Trust me. I'm too annoying for that.
A secret scammer.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, yeah. What do you think? So, what do you guys think at the end of the day, though? Like, should we be allowed to create deep fake things that are not even just funny, that could actually, like, I think this is what Newsom, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, and I don't agree with censorship, but I'm trying to understand where is the actual line where we should actually stop it. And when you asked a good question, Roy, like, what is it, to the party that you want or who you're voting for? And it really shouldn't matter, because how I look at it is, if you agree with something of censorship, it needs to be equally on the other side, because if your party or what you believe in loses power, they're going to just take it over. So however you do it, that part needs to be equal on the board, because then you created a bigger problem of when you lose power, what do they do? What do you do? It's going to get flipped, right? And so, like, one is like, if you pass a law that you like, right? And I'll use an example here. Let's say it's the Electoral College. You get rid of the Electoral College, right? A lot of people I know on the left want to get rid of it because the popular vote, usually population-wise, goes Democratic, because there's more people that live in the cities, and the cities have more population. And that's what votes that way, right? Well, what happened if you flipped it and say this one, it's 10 million people vote Trump more than the other one, and it flipped, and they would be like, oh, whoa. We don't want to get rid of the Electoral College now, because we'll never have a chance. So that's why I said you have to be careful what you wish for when you want to do it a different way, because at some point history will change and time changes, and you think you're here, but now it flipped like this. So those laws, they will bite you in the ass, basically, if you do stuff like that. So with that, where's the line on this deep stuff in your guys' mind now? Like, where is that line? Like, what can you do and not do?
Like I said earlier, I think it would be a good idea to have an AI label, a deep fake label, like this was generated with AI, so that people know that it's not real. It's not that person talking. It's not that politician actually speaking. As far as satire goes, satire, of course, I think should be allowed. I don't know about a mandatory label for it being satire. Uh, I think that may be a little too far, but open to things like that, and I think that can apply on both sides. I'm not opposed to that at all. Making fun of people in power isn't necessarily something that should be illegal, and it's not dangerous as long as people aren't allowed to get away with a lie. So if it's a deep fake saying that Trump is, for example, instituting like a national emergency, then like that should have a label next to it saying this is generated with AI, and that would be,
So it's like a South Park episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SNL would be in trouble all the time.
Yeah, dude, they had a funny one the other day. Oh my gosh. They had Trump and Kamala on a Family Feud style, like with a Steve Harvey. It was hilarious.
I haven't seen that.
Dude, you should go Google it. It's 8 minutes. It's one of my, it's funny.
Okay.
Yeah. So they kicked off Alex Jones YouTube and stuff, and they censored him like crazy. And he got, hit with misinformation, and then he got censored and all that stuff. And, they came out, and most of the stuff he talked about pretty much came true. So, like, what do you do with stuff like that? Where, like, how do you actually, like, this is changing the topic big off a deep, like the deep fake AI, but like, who gets the right to censor stuff and say what is true or not true? Because they say it's misinformation, and then years come out and they find out it's happening. And one's like hilarious, is like, because it's just funny to say, is like he used to say like the government's turning the frogs gay, and we find out later like the government actually did that, and it's not a secret. It's not like this weird conspiracy thing anymore. And they made fun of him forever. And he went on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan literally and him had a cigar, and they laughed about it because they came out and admitted that's what they were trying to do in an experiment. And him and Joe Rogan laughed about it, but for like a decade, everyone made fun of him, and they labeled him misinformation. So like, who gets to say all that stuff and set those boundaries, and then they're never held accountable? What do you do with that?
It's people in power, sadly. Like there's a saying that says the winners of history write history. Like the people who won the wars write the history. So right now the people in power don't have as much, I think, accountability as they should have. So they're just writing the narrative. And if they say really weird, crazy out there things like Alex Jones, like he's been right about a lot, he's been wrong about some stuff too. And I think he was responsible. He took responsibility for what he was wrong about. And there's no reason he should be deplatformed. He just says crazy things. Like crazy things aren't illegal. They're just, uncommon.
Well, I mean, guys like that, people that are going to have those type of conversations and make those type of allegations, I'd say let them make those. I mean, I'd say let them talk. I mean, going back to it's free speech. Now, back it up. I think that's also why these podcasts are so important, to be able to have those type of conversations, challenge those thought processes, and be able to push back. Don't be a coward and just sit in your basement and just kind of speaking off everything. If you're going to say something and it's going to be that radical, expect to be called out and embrace that to be called out. Don't just stay in your hole. And I think a lot of people do that too, where they will say, certain speculations, and then they just kind of live in their own head and they're scared of being challenged or proven wrong. And I think that's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. But what do you do with like a guy like Alex Jones, where like a decade later it comes out like 90% of his stuff was was, and part of it is he probably couldn't actually back it up how people needed to get it backed up because it was speculation. It was his opinion, and he was like, "I'm pretty sure this is what was happening," and then he's still deplatformed. They won't let him back on. And to Alex's point, he admitted, and he had to go to trial for the Sandy Hook thing, and he admitted he was wrong, that it happened, and it did, like because he said it was fake forever, and he apologized for an X amount of things. Why can't they? Why is he not back on? He like, unless I'm missing something where he didn't own up to some of the stuff that like clearly got proven wrong, like at court. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it, but I think that's what's weird of that part. We have a guy like that. Like, I think he should be let back on. Like, I really do. Like, that's a little weird.
Well, so then do you do it on a scale side where, if you have, like, say you're 70% right, but you're 30% wrong? Do you do it? Do you base it off of that? That almost sounds like that would make more sense to me.
Well, dude, CNN and Fox would get canceled tomorrow. The amount of misinformation that those two spew that never get held accountable.
But we all know who's in. I mean, who's in their. I mean, who's feeding them? Who's keeping that network alive? We all know.
Yeah, I know, but I think that's the problem is you get these podcasters or people with their opinions and their stuff, but like you turn on Fox or CNN, it is straight not news. It's their opinion as well. Yeah. And I think, and it's not everybody. Let me say, it's not every person that's on there, but like I'll just use Tucker Carlson as an example. He did really good of what he wanted to believe, and he talked about it, and a lot of it was his opinion and not Fox, right? Like, he's on there as a host, and he didn't. That's partly why he's not on there anymore, is he disagreed and he couldn't do certain things. And then you have like Don Lemon, right? And then you have all these other people that they're doing their opinions, but yes, they're getting it from the platforms that are allowing them to speak or not. And then when you don't agree, well, it's time to go, right? So they're controlling the narrative, but no one's holding those guys accountable, to your point, Roy, because who controls it? So and this goes back to what I said earlier, it's all good and dandy if you control it. But what happens now if the people in power, if they flipped it, and let's just say, because it's very left-leaning, very wokeism, let's just say someone very conservative, that got in there and actually controlled the media and did what they're doing. Now gets what gets censored. And I don't know if it does, but like to your point, I think that's something to think about. What if it flipped? Because the media is controlled by the woke left 90% or more, easy. Mainstream, not you. Like, I'm thinking we both agree with that.
But but right now, I think they're both coming to where they're going to be on even playing fields, where you have, social media, and then you also have, network media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, network media has ran the game for a long time. Then everyone's losing trust here. Now they're going to, different people who are able to provide different points of views, different perspectives, different conversations. And now they're starting to be on the same playing field. Whereas these guys in the media, while they still have power, they're going to say, hey, we don't like what they're doing. They're getting too close to us. I need you to interfere or, do something. So now you have those people on, that have the power. There's no proper checks and balances, but I mean, we're gonna catch up. I mean, this is gonna catch up. It's gonna be the new source, if not already.
So the thing that I think is, then let's say the real power then is like on the servers and the host, right? So like, let's say YouTube, Google, right? They control the algorithms, they control the amount they can turn on and off. Like, if they wanted to, they could push our platform and they could have 1 million people see this tomorrow if they actually wanted to, with probably very minimal effort, right? They can do that the reverse. If someone has millions of views, normally they can turn that down. And I remember talking to Pat about this, about because I was just asking him different questions when I was working at Valuetainment. Is like, we were talking about censorship, this topic, and he said it's not about, how did he phrase this? It's not about the total views that you get over a time. It's how fast viral you go. because that affects the algorithm, but it also affects like moods of people and like group, like the thinking. And I never thought of it this way. And I'm sure it's way deeper than I'm explaining right now, but it's like, if you get 10 million views in a day and then it stops, is way different than if you get 10 million views in 20 months. 10 million views in a day is dangerous to them. And I was like, wow, I never thought of that.
Mhm.
Like, that's crazy. And part of it probably is the algorithms, right? Like if it'll just start spreading like wildfire, where you have a very popular person, like today, he interviewed Trump, right? It's got over 1 million views already, which is great, right?
Yeah.
Now it'll just go like this. It'll just keep climbing because it's Trump, right? Anyone that gets interviewed Trump, it's going to naturally grow. Where like some of his videos or other people's they'll just kind of plateau and get like little bits, right? And so, the danger is fast virality, and that's, I think, what needs to is who controls those algorithms and who gets to put what content in front of people. Like when you scroll, right? I think that's where the power is now. It's that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. I would
And-
agree.
Yeah, and it makes sense why that would be the place where they guard the information too, because they don't want it to spread that fast, so they take videos down, like the small channels like us.
Yeah, or like say for instance, say you had like what Roy you just said, like mainstream media, and then they owned it forever, right? And so like they could put the host that they wanted on to talk on the 5 o'clock news, and they knew that they were going to read the prompter and say what they want, right? Well, now you just got people like us. Say you got 10,000 podcasters. They can just push whoever they want in the algorithms. They can literally use keyword AI technology to find out who is spewing the information that they want and censor the ones or put down that aren't. And maybe they're, and I'm not saying they are, I'm just saying they can. I've never seen the back end. I've seen lots of accusations from conservatives that they're deplatformed, are like they're censored. And I'll go on. I'm like, guys, you guys are getting like 5 million views on this video. Like, I don't, unless they're lying about that count, I don't think you're getting censored. Now, there are conservatives that I definitely believe have gotten censored from saying that. But like, I don't know. But I think that's where the power is in those algorithms.
I think the market's going to balance itself out because people on the right side, they've been very sleepy about, getting people involved or buying up locations or like, buying up media. The people on the left got smart and they were buying up all the media. They were spending money. They were playing the long game. But I think it's going to balance itself out now that we know what's a powerful tool and what's not. I mean, look at Elon Musk. He bought X. It's a powerful tool. We didn't have that.
Dude,
I think we'd be in the country would be in a much bigger, we'll have bigger problems.
I agree. I think if Musk didn't buy X, I believe, and I believe this. I don't know this. I can't prove it. Can't back it up. But I believe that Facebook and Instagram would be a harder nut to crack from a censorship standpoint than if not, because I believe they have to keep certain things being posted because of how big X is. And if they did, it would be very easy to see that they're censoring stuff. I think they want to, but I don't think they can at the rate that they could have, because it changed the game. Elon Musk now, like the amount of views and traction it's funny. I'm not even on X. I've made an account like when it came out, never like opened it. So I don't really use it. Never been on it really, but I know it's one of the most powerful platforms in the world from a communication standpoint. So I think you're right, Roy. Like if he didn't do that, it'd be pretty different.
So
what do you think of that?
We got to figure out what's next coming down the line. Is it what is it? Is it the metaverse? Is it Meta that's coming? That's next. It's going to be the next thing to get an edge over your competition. Is that the next wave, or what is it? Is it robots? You just see Elon Musk come out with the Tesla robots.
As much as I love Elon, I don't know if he's a good guy yet. Still.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like he might end the world by accident, not knowing. I feel like he doesn't want to, but like, I'm like, man, didn't you watch iRobot, dude? Like.
I mean, the vehicles are getting way too similar to iRobot.
Yeah, do you see that little Facebook meme or Instagram thing where it compared all these things, and it was like,
yeah.
And I've seen this movie before play out, and I've seen Terminator and The Matrix.
Is this another one of those where the movie's going to tell us what's going to be happening in the future?
Oh, dude, here we
the-
go. We're opening a
Uh,
rabbit hole, Roy.
Didn't we already talk about that in the
We already
podcast?
talked about this, but I mean, we could touch a little bit on it because it's coming back. It's coming full circle. The
Yeah, hit it
dots are
up.
connecting.
I think you mentioned a minute ago about what do you think is next about was it about what to get a
The
leg
leverage,
up on our
you know,
competition?
yeah, leverage over your competition. Like again,
The next platform.
no, couldn't it doesn't even have to be a
No.
platform. I don't even think it has to be a platform. I think it has to be what's next. What's going to be the next influential thing that's going to give different parties the leg up over the other people? Is it robots? Is it like controlling the robots? Is it the robots like it's going to be able to control, the certain policing of certain things as well? Is it going to be technology, kind of like what's that movie with Tom Cruise that was in it? Tom Cruise was in it. He was able to. They were able to foresee.
Oh, Minority Report.
Minority Report. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Is that-
cognition. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's crazy.
Hmm.
Premonitions.
I think that what's going to grow the most is probably the long form content like podcasts and YouTube videos. It's going to continue to grow, and people are going to almost make like decentralized news stations in their own bubbles. They're going to decide who to trust, and it's not going to be the mainstream media. And they're going to have just big players, kind of like almost like a feudal system, where there's these large players in the game, like PBD's podcast, Tucker Carlson, and Joe Rogan, and those are going to be the main sources, and they're going to control the information. They already kind of are the people with a ton of power because they can launch someone's business overnight,
Mhm.
and they can make someone from nobody into somebody overnight, and they can get millions of people to trust them with an episode. So I think that's going to be what is now where the power is, and that's only going to continue to grow.
What was that line that was in Batman? It was the one where at the with Joker and Two Face, where they were sitting at the table, and he said Harvey Dent. He said that okay, if you become the hero too long, you eventually become the villain.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yes.
Hmm.
It's a very interesting quote, man.
Yeah, I think
Interesting
about that
quote,
I think about
but
that quote a lot.
interesting quote, but I don't think time has to corrupt you. Maybe I'm just too young, but
No,
But
I'm with you on that too, but
so I remember this from Pat. He was talking about how I think it was Caesar where literally hired a person and that he would just whisper in his ears like, "You're not a god." You have to have those people that just go and say you have so much power. But I think it was Caesar. I gotta look this up, but it was someone he hired someone to
Mhm.
come and tell him like you're still human.
I think it was an official. I know what you're talking about. I think it was an official position in either the king's court or the Roman emperor's court, where their only job would be when they returned from a victory, would just to say you're going to die one day,
Yep.
and it just
So
reminded them of that.
so that's where uh, if if you're going to be of that level of influence, you got to have the right court system around you. You have to have the right people on your board, other advisors that could tell you, like, dude, you're not God. You're still human. You're going to die. You still bleed like the rest of us. You're not bulletproof.
yeah, I think the part too with what Alex said with that though, like I think that just comes down to who is your god? Because everyone has a god, right? And it doesn't have to be an entity. It can be money, it can be sex, it can be fame, right? What do you put as that thing? But like, I do believe like if you're putting the most powerful god who created us, and you know that is the where you get your morality from and your what you believe and your foundation, you're already knowing what you just said, Roy. Like, like I didn't get this. Like this is given to me and I'm a steward of it and I can be taken out at any moment. And you can see this throughout the Bible too. Like you start getting corrupted, like God's like, well, all right, we're gonna have to move on.
Herod not giving glory to God, then getting smacked to death immediately by an angel.
Yeah, and you might have power for 10, 20 years. You might have it your whole lifetime, but like it's not that long. I mean, we're only here for a short time. So like, really like where are you getting your power from? Where are you getting your source, and do you think, like you said, Roy, like why you have people around you? Do you want to like get reminded? But I think there's also like, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this in like a cool analogy. Where it would make sense to what you said on the movie side, because do you have any thoughts on this, Alex? On what that comment? Because you made a comment like, I don't think it has to be time. Like you don't have to fall. I'm trying to like.
Said you don't have to be corrupted.
I think maybe if you go the world's way and you just sort of operate like a gang and you have good intentions and you just get things done proverbially, and you just live your life like that, then maybe you'll be corrupted by what the things that you have to do to get things done, or the money that you make, or the way that you're going to make money, which is maybe progressively more and more immoral as time goes on, because your boundaries can be torn down. But if you, like you were saying, if you are submitted to God, if you do have a strong conviction of that and living his way, then you'll know where to set the boundary. You're not going to cross certain lines. Even if you slip up, you're going to have accountability around you, and you can repent. And you won't live just to see yourself become the villain. Like you'll fulfill whatever God wants you to do. And that's sort of a cynical quote. Like it's interesting, and I think that does happen to some people, but I think that is sort of like nihilistic or cynical. Like the heroes don't all just die when they're young.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a?
No, I agree with that. I think I think another thought that I had when you were saying that is also like when you're the hero, like you said, if you die, they don't all die young, right? Like I feel like that. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Hold on a second. I don't feel like that's the truth, and I feel like stories are told purposefully to try to actually, I think, implant a seed that you can't do that. And I think this comes back to character, right? Like, who are you? Like, there's certain lines I know I won't cross, and I've been tested on some. Okay, guys, I finally got it. I got the analogy I was looking for. Oh,
Okay.
I knew it was there. I just couldn't figure it out. It's in Lord of the Rings, and with Gandalf, he's a watcher. He's a protector. He's a guardian, and he's supposed to kind of be almost all knowing to these hobbits, and they all look for him. And there's this moment where he talks about like he knows he's going to face things, and he goes, "There's some things I have not yet been tested," and and that scene hits me because he knows that he's a good guy, but he still has to go do a test, and one of them, like, is it going to take him out? Is he going to take the ring, right? And he doesn't take the ring. But I think part of it is you're watching the movie and he's not going to do it because his caricature in the movie, you kind of know, but you got to see the struggle and the balance. And then it's not that he can't fall. It's more of like, this is who God created him to be, and he's accepted it, and he's got tests to do it. Does that make sense? Or I feel like I'm not saying what I want to say.
I think I understand what you're trying to say.
I have an idea on what you're talking about.
I feel like it didn't come out clear.
No, just I think what you were trying to say is that he had his own morals and values and principles, and he doesn't actually know that those are actually set in stone until you've actually been tested on those morals, values, and principles. And then once you are tested, then that's how you know, okay, this is where I stand. This is where I'll fall on the sword for.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. No, that you said that way better than I did. I feel like, but yeah, there's like a line, right? Like there's certain things that I know I'm not going to do. And there's certain things that I know I can still be tempted on. And I'm going to just use an extremes, right? Like I'm never going to be a pedophile. It's just never going to happen. Like I can tell you that right now, like 100% certainty. Okay. like just not gonna happen. And there's lines, right? Well, there's like, well, can you get tempted with a woman, a married man? Like, can that happen? Yeah, of course that can happen. I don't believe I'm gonna do anything. Like, but like, can it happen? Yeah, it happens all the time to a lot of people, right? So like, you still have to be aware there's like temptations and things that can corrupt you, but yet there's still lines where you're like, you'll never cross a certain one, right? That I think that's what I was trying to get at, right? And I think everyone, when I talk about character, everyone's line is different, and I think that's why it's called character. You know, you can look at people, and it's not that you say they're never going to not do something, they're never going to not sin, or they can't fall. It's like, like, no, that person didn't do that, even if like 100 people said they did. You're like, nah, that person definitely didn't do that. And then you're like, well, you know what? That's a temptation or a thing where like, yeah, someone could fall in that area. That's what I was trying to get at when you talked about the villain, because I feel like there's a difference between being in a sinful nature and being a villain. That's actually what I wanted to try to get to. And I think that's what you hit me with, Alex, is like, it's one thing to have a mistake and fall, but to become the villain and actually like, that's like evil to me when I hear that. So that was my thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. You're what you're submitted to matters. What you're following matters. Like whether it's yourself, evil itself, or something unclean, or God. Like you'll be a villain if you're following anything other than the truth.
Well, what
Yeah.
if what if the truth is your truth, and it's like, because there's a lot of people that do things where they say I'm following the truth, but the truth is actually hurting a lot of people. I mean, I'm pretty sure, Adolf Hitler was also thinking like, this is the truth, and so he thinks he's right.
Well, where is he getting his truth from?
You playing devil's advocate and trying to be morally relative?
Nah, we'll go down here. Why?
I'm just saying, like, you throw this out there, but we also got to be careful on what's that truth.
No, this is great. We're gonna go down. This is perfect. Here's a segue. Where did Hitler get his truth from? Obviously, you don't know. You're not in his head, but like, where do you think he got? We're gonna just use this as an example. Where do you think he got? He believed that it was okay to go kill 6 million Jews. That was his truth. Where did he get his truth from? He has to get it from somewhere.
He has to get it from somewhere. Yeah.
Where is he getting it from?
Don't know.
Because that's the issue, right? Like you can't get your truth and what is good. If you try to get what is good and wrong from a human standard, everyone will have a different standard. Your moral code to be, and I'm not the person to like articulate this because I haven't actually like, I've listened to a lot of this. I just haven't articulated it a lot. But like, if your code is coming from a human standard that you create, and you say this religion says this, or I believe this, and it's not actually from a creator that is holy and good, it's all based on, I don't know what the word is, if it's relative, or do you know this word, Alex, I'm looking for?
Moral relativism.
Probably, I don't know. But I think that's no, there's that one might be, but like that's where
no, it's not.
No, I don't think it is. I think that might be it.
I was just thinking, I'm not sure.
But if you're gonna where do you get your truth from? Because when you say like there is no your truth, that doesn't work. And so like I get where you're coming from, Roy, though. Like, how do you know that what you're saying is the truth, right? And so like that's where it all comes back down to, like, what do you believe in? Do you believe there is one truth or not?
Deep stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think it's important to have absolute truth and not just like relative truth based on whatever the cultural conversation is at the time. So I was watching something recently about, it was a debate between an atheist and a Christian, and the atheist was trying to defend himself because the Christian always asks something like, well, why do you think this is wrong? And he used I think pedophilia. I think he used that extreme example.
Oh, there we go. Came back up again.
Yeah, it's like, it's an extreme example. Everyone kind of just understands.
Yeah.
That it's not okay. most people. But and then the atheist said, well, of course it's wrong. And he tried to make the argument from, well, that's the cultural conversation we're in at the time. We agree that it's wrong so that we make laws against it. And so the Christian would ask, okay, so if the cultural conversation changed enough like it is right now, is it okay to change those laws? And you can't really have a defense against that, because like it becomes so subjective. Like if the cultural conversation changes from like 99.9% against pedophilia to 98%, like for example, then you're slowly just changing your morals over time, and it's dependent on what the culture is doing. That is not how truth works. Truth is truth no matter
Yeah.
how many people say it. And sometimes it's a little more, sometimes a little less. It may fluctuate how many people agree with the truth. But nevertheless, absolute truth is necessary because truth is eternal.
Well, that's the whole statement. If it's a truth statement can't have two correct answers. It either is yay or it is nay.
Yeah, because those two things can agree with each other.
And then the next thing, though, is to find the truth is a completely different statement. Some things are very hard to find the truth, and you're not just going to have a conversation. Sometimes it takes people days, weeks, years, decades to actually what is the truth? Like, and one of that is like, who created the universe? Like, that doesn't just get revealed to everybody. They have to go through processes, right? Like, and then you have like, who do you follow? Like, if you believe there's entities, you have Muhammad, you have Buddha, like you have all these different creators, you have Jesus, you have the Hindu, you have all these things. And I think that's what you're alluding to, where like, how do you know which one is the real one, right? And I think at the end of the day, the truth defends itself. You don't need to defend the truth. You can talk about it, you can do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, there's nothing that anyone can say, because here it's basically, I think at the end it's basically like this, like I could be completely wrong in my belief stance, totally could be completely wrong. I don't believe I am, right? Like, and that's why I'm like very like out forward. I say what I am. I don't believe him, but can I be wrong? Of course I can be wrong. Oh, there goes my camera. See, already. I think my back. Oh, I was just kidding. This one's gonna be good.
You're still here. We can hear you.
All right. Well, basically, like, like I think the part is it doesn't matter if I actually say something, because it will be correct or it won't be at the end of the age, at the end of death, at this, like, there's nothing that I can say or believe that changes what the truth actually is. It is what it is. And I can go seek it and I can go try to figure things out, but I guarantee you I will not know all the things that are actually true by the time I'm dead, because there's just too many things. But I do believe that there is one truth to be saved. That's a different conversation, because there's so many different like subjective things that you can talk about truth. And I think that's where a lot of people get like into these debates or different things, because you're like, well, what is true? Can you do this? Can you kill people? What we just talked about, pedophilia. Can you do that? Or like, do you get saved? Is there afterlife? And so there's all these different things. But at the end of the day, like, that's really not what matters. Like, at the end of the day, like, we're in a system, and this is my belief, right? We're going down here is like, we're in a system that Satan, the enemy, is trying to deceive everybody to not follow Jesus Christ, Yeshua. I think that's the ultimate truth, and it will be revealed to everybody. And am I wrong? I don't think I am, but could I be? Of course I could be wrong. But truth is truth regardless what I believe. It will be there at the end of time. That's my thoughts.
Agreed. Amen.
Yeah. Well, I think it's up to the leaders in the household, the people, to encourage. I think it's strong to encourage, to be the role model, and then allow, this goes back to why we're doing this podcast, to be able to question. And then as soon
Yeah.
as you open up your thoughts to questioning certain things, which it's not a bad thing, it'll answers will come to you. Now now we got to be teaching people it's okay to question things, because that part, going back to censorship, there I my own personal beliefs is that they're trying to tear that out of their process instead of, challenging what can be challenged. Because I do believe the right things will lead you down the path of what you're trying to figure out, and you study, you get around the right people, and you'll be led the right way.
Dude, you got to watch the Lord of the Rings of Power too, man.
I can't
I'm
get into it, man.
dude, what you just said, I a month ago I would agree with until I watched this. I don't agree with what you said because I think it's dangerous to think that you'll be led to the right well because you're around the right people. I think that's very scary.
But
And
if you keep, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I would
I
also say like those people need to keep challenging those thoughts. They need to keep challenging, and then like to me, again, I have my own personal relationship with God right now. Is because I'm allowing and I'm opening myself up to, and I'm seeing different things carry out and take place. That's allowing me to feel more at peace. I feel more secure. I feel much better in my walk with Him, and it's that's what led me. That's how I got led more down this direction.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I wasn't trying to say to not do that. I was just saying you have to be very careful though, because
Yeah,
and they portray this so well in the Rings of Power season 2 is the enemy entices you for what you want and he tricks you. So you do got to be careful. It's not this glorious rainbow butterfly path that we think it is. Like it's a journey of hardship and choices and stuff. So I just wanted to add that to it. It's not that I was completely disagreeing. I just saying you just have to be very careful of who has your ear, or who you are. Sorry, is that right? No, whose ear you? I don't know what the saying
who's
is.
in your ear? You have to
Who's
have
in your
ears.
ear? Yes,
Yeah,
you don't want everyone in there, and you don't want everyone's opinion in there. There's certain people you do need to block out. So, but there we go. All right, till next time.
so next time,
I
see
don't
you
have to have
later.
this